This is TWiT.
This is how pathetic we've gotten. This is how sad, and it's not a comment on Trump, it's just how sad the whole political sphere has gotten. He's going to go to the United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, ask them to let him block users on Twitter again.
Oh, bless his heart.
He's using the Solicitor General of the United States of America so that he can block users on Twitter.
I never quite got an understanding on his Twitter account versus the President of the United States.
Well, that's
Twitter
the
account.
argument. He says, look, I got a POTUS account. Okay, I won't block things on that. But the real Donald Trump, that's my personal account. I can do that.
Okay.
I think he's president all the time, not just 9 to 5.
And he would argue, if you tried to tell him that he was not president at certain times a day, he would argue that no, he is president all the time and will be forever.
Forever. So arguing that this is a purely personal action is, I think, not going to. I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see what the Supremes say. The court, a three-judge panel unanimously ruled last year, as you might remember, that he could not block users on Twitter because he used it to make official pronouncements. And it is kind of the thing we do in America. I think it's in the First Amendment. I might be wrong. The right to speak up and say, I don't like that.
I think. Let me double check.
I think it's in there.
Well, it's also this is a case too. It's in the what do you call the law of open government information? The official documents,
transparency. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just going to bet the Supremes are going to punt and wait and not.
It seems such a trivial, terrible thing for them.
They don't want to get dragged down.
There's so many more serious things like TikTok. They could be getting involved in the TikTok or Apple versus Epic. There's so many more important things. Oh Lord.
I don't know. Well, let's take this a little further. So not just Donald Trump wanting to block people, but let's think about as we go forward in time, we're going to have presidents and people in power who have a history of social media use, for example. And if you start thinking from that perspective, how far, to what extent could like Kamala Harris go to protect her accounts from harassment? And I don't know. So I'm just trying to think about, maybe it's not just Twitter, but how, like, at what point do you become your job? It's kind of the same debate between a public and a private person for, libel reasons, right?
Right.
Or not libel, coverage reasons. And I mean, I'm not thinking that Trump is thinking this far ahead, but as a lawyer, I would be, thinking that way, and I assume some lawyers are. And just like your personal Instagram, or what about your kids' Instagram? And yes, he is making political statements on Twitter. So does that negate that? And if that's the rule that we come up with, then how does that make other people behave on Twitter if they aspire to this office?
Well, understand, he's not saying I want the power to delete old tweets, which he also lacks.
No, I know.
He's saying I want to be able to. I want to be able to put my fingers in my ears and say, nah, I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying. He wants to block a route for the citizens of the United States to talk back to him.
And Stacey brings up a really good analogy talking about Kamala Harris. I think there's a professor at University of Maryland, Matthew Kirschenbaum, a name you should know because he wrote The History of Word Processing. It's a great book.
I have that book actually.
It's a really fun book.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
Track changes.
Track changes. Yep.
So he the other day he tweeted some troll was going after him, and he was just kind of saying, "I'm not playing." And he finally said, "You don't have a right to a conversation." And I liked that, right? I don't have any responsibility to respond to you. I don't need to rise to whatever bait you're putting up before me, right? So there's that. Then there's do you have a right to be heard? No, you don't. So I think Stacey's right that do you have a right to not be harassed? These are the things we've got to discuss now.